What's going on, ladies? This is Marcia here with another episode of the LadyStrong Fitcast. I have LadyStrong Fitness member Madeline. Her and I are going to be talking about, Madeline, you don't even know this, 10 powerful ways on how to lose weight.
So the big question is this: how were two women who didn't cheat and purchase a gym franchise model, how were they able to spread their mission and purpose by empowering and transforming hundreds of women's lives through fitness, nutrition, mindset, and accountability with a micro gym business model of women only? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. We are Lady Strong Fitness.
Madeline, how are you today?
Well, I'm great. Thanks for that wonderful surprise.
Yes. I entitled this podcast episode 10 Powerful Ways to Lose Weight because after reading your bio, and you losing 21 pounds since joining in February, I'm like, man, your story is inspiring. So I'm really excited to share your story with our audience today. So in about a quick 30 to 60 seconds, like spiel, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes. So like work-wise, life-wise, family.
Everything. I want to know everything. We all want to know like everything.
First and foremost, I am married to the best husband in the whole wide world, in all the land. And we've been married for 16 and a half years. So I've known him for more than half my life, and he's absolutely wonderful.
That's awesome.
I work for a nonprofit as a fundraiser, and I manage a portfolio of just basically creating community and making people feel connected to the organization, which is really great. I have the best job in the world as well. I started a blog about 10 years ago. It was 9.5 years ago, and I thought that blog was going to be it. Accountability on check. I am going to lose all the weight and have no questions. And that blog took me into an ever looping whole spiral and really finding out that losing weight isn't necessarily about what you're doing physically, but what needs to happen internally. So I got to a point where I knew I could lose the weight. Diets work. It's just how couldn't I keep it off? And so they work for the time being, but they weren't sustainable in the long run. So that is kind of where that journey took me. And here I am almost 10 years later. And I started at LSF. I think I was the heaviest I've ever been.
Oh, wow.
So ironic because I started this weight loss journey and now I had lost 40 pounds at the time. And then I gained that and then some. And so now I'm making my way back down. So
got it. Very cool. So my first question for you is, why did you even decide to join LadyStrong Fitness? What was it that triggered you into wanting to come inside the studio and learn more about what we had to offer?
Yeah. So first, I have to tell you, I was looking for a gym for my husband.
Oh.
Gym, and so we were sitting at the table, and I thought, well, let's look around. Let's see what's in the area because we just moved to the Schaumburg area. And I started looking, and I said, wait a second, there's an all-women's gym around here. I am everything all women. I used to go to Curves. I have visited Women's Workout World. Environments where there's only women working out. It takes away a lot of the worry, a lot of the I think the sensitivity to just paying attention to my body and what it's doing that I can't necessarily control. And I feel such a freedom being able to work out with women. Plus, I love the thought of community. Yeah. So I called and Jess picked up the phone. She's absolutely wonderful. I came out, I scheduled my appointment, and I just realized like this was more, LSF is more than just a gym. I really love Marciea and Brittany. I love your heart to create community. And when I heard there was a gala and I heard there was like, you guys did like challenges, and then there was this whole like DJ and after hours, and it really felt like a community and it wasn't forced, really organic. That is what drew me most to LSF, and I wanted to be a part of that. I knew I needed that.
I love that. So I'll be honest with you though. Let's get a little bit vulnerable here. When you first signed up, you hated coming to do the workouts. Like you dreaded it. Like when I read that, honestly, I was like, I had no idea. Like, and that's very good. People need to hear this because it's not all what it seems to be, right? Even though you're super successful in your journey, but that's not how it started. So tell us about those feelings, and then how did it end up to where they are today?
Yeah. So honestly, I was actually talking to Amber. What's up, Amber? At the gym yesterday, she was having, we were both just kind of struggling, but I forced myself to come to the gym. I had every excuse in the book to not go. My baby toenail broke, my curl was out of place, like whatever I could think of, I just was like, oh my gosh, I can't go. Um, I hated it. And I realized that it was mentally draining more than it was physically draining.
Mm.
And so my emotions, I just had to get to a place where I literally would pray. Like, faith is a really big part of my life. And I just like, Lord, I need you to help me because I don't want to be here, but I know I need to be here.
Mm.
And I wanted to get to a place where I felt the need or the desire, because I don't want to say I need to, right? I wanted to desire really working out because I knew it was good for me.
Sure.
I remember being there. Like, I used to love being at the gym. I used to love killing it. I was like, they used to call me She-Ra in the gym because I used to love
Wow.
doing it all. And so I got to the total exact opposite where I just complacency and just feeling really sluggish and lethargic. And I wanted to want that. And so honestly, coming back to the gym, not feeling judged, being greeted, hey, we missed you. It was never, where have you been? Where
Yeah.
have you There was never any of that. It was always welcoming, warm, and judgment free. And then if I did say something, all right, let's go. So, okay, tomorrow's a new day. And so I just had to get to a point where, one, I accepted that. Two, I gave myself the grace. And three, I was okay with being humbled and asking for help or getting modifications. I dubbed myself Modification Maddie, because I will modify anything.
I love it.
Listen, I asked Paula last week for a modification of a modification.
I saw that in the bio, and I literally, when I read it, I laughed out loud. Which is, you have a great sense of humor. You really do. Like, you don't take things so seriously. Like, you're enjoying the process and you're having fun. And people need to hear this because it's like, oh, this place isn't for me. I can't do these types of workouts. And you saying like, I have a modification for the modification lets people know, like, girl, you're wrong. There is something for you to do. So let's talk about that modification on top of the modification. Exactly what was it? Share that with us.
I think she wanted us to do something like a push-up of some sort. And then she modified it with a different kind of push-up. And I said, oh no, baby girl, I can't do that. So, and it's not that I can't, like, physically, my lower back, I have issues, and I also have tendonitis on my right arm.
We'll talk about that next. Yeah.
So I feel like I'm trying to push myself, but I also don't want to hurt myself or be unrealistic to a point where I'm just not going to come at all, and then derail and discouragement kicks in, and then we've got ourselves a whole different problem.
Right.
So I asked her for a modification of the modification, and she chuckled because she knows me, and so I did it, and I killed it. And I was like,
yes,
I felt good about what I was doing and not being stuck on what I couldn't do.
yes.
Get there. It's not a matter of if, it's when.
And right. I love that.
Need a little help.
I love that. Shout out to Coach Paula. So the next thing I want to talk about is you've had a lot of setbacks. And regardless of those setbacks, you're still here today sharing your story, and you're going through the journey and you haven't stopped. So I saw on your bio, you have tendinitis, you had bronchitis, you had COVID. Unfortunately, you lost your father, and my blessings go out to you and your family. And then you got laid off from your job. It's like, I'm reading this, I'm like, oh my God, you have everything going against you. Tell us about your mindset. Like, what was it? I mean, you could have easily got caught in this trap, right? But you didn't. You didn't get stuck. What was it that kept you going?
Yeah. So, well, again, my faith, it's just such a big part of me. And so going to that place for me and praying and really seeking the Lord for that, right? And then also I think for some time I did feel trapped. I think that word was perfect. Like, I did feel trapped. And I got to a place where it was just really sad. I felt like I was just overwhelmed with all the bad things. And I think it's easy to get into a place where you can stay there and feel sorry for yourself. Or for me, I had to get to a place where I just needed help and I needed to get out. Mm-hmm. So to be unstuck, you have to decide to be unstuck, right? You don't want to stay there. Yeah. So I really believe that weight loss starts in your heart, in your mind, and then it happens at the gym, for me at least. And so I And I feel like there's a lot of people who are trapped by thinking the gym is the
end all be all.
but there's so much more work to do before that. And so I had to choose to be out of that trap. And the truth of the matter is, if we're going to be very vulnerable, either way is hard. Being fat is hard. Losing weight is hard. I just had to choose my hard. I know that being overweight, it's holding me back. It's stunting my growth. It's not allowing me to be who I really truly feel I am. And I need my body to reflect what's happened to me internally. And so I had to choose, even if I didn't like it, I would still go to the gym, still do all of it. And I say it because I remember just dreading it. And I remember the August challenge, I believe it was, that, okay, well, here we go. Accountability.
Yeah.
Somebody knowing what I'm eating every day, somebody seeing my weight every day, like knowing that somebody is looking and they care. It's not just like you just let yourself go last night. It's like, all right, cool, let's keep on. Today's a new day. Let's brush it off. And so again, going back to accepting where I was in that season, deciding to make a change, wanting more, and knowing that there's more, having people around me, accepting the love, the help, the grace, and then just moving forward.
I like that. That's so cool. Thank you for sharing that. So, ladies, I hope you're taking notes. I mean, honestly, you're inspiring me today. Like I'm literally, I feel like I should be taking notes right now. So let's talk about the 21 pounds that you lost. Let's not ignore it. I mean, congratulations. That's huge, right? Did you ever think coming into the program that you would lose 21 pounds in less than 6 months? And if so, if not, why? Why did you feel that way? And if so, what led to that? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect, honestly. I knew I wanted to change. I knew I had to do something. In the beginning, I think I had more, I think my thinking, I feared more failing than I did succeeding. Then once I started to hit like kind of my stride, I'm like, oh, this feels good. We're going to do this. And so it became more, okay, I want more. There's more, getting more. I want to get stronger. How can I start doing this? So for me, and especially where I'm at right now, and in the beginning, it's what's sustainable for me. And so some days I would start 2 times a week. I would go. Sometimes I went once a week, and for a couple months I didn't go. But we don't talk about those days. And then it got to the point where it's like, no, 3 days feels good. I feel stronger. And now I'm like, okay, I want 4 days. I want those 4 days. I can feel it. It's good. I can still rest my body. And I know that I can work hard during the week. So while I feared failing, there's been a shifting in my thinking where now it's like, no, there's more. And I want to do
like that. I like how you're doing it in increments. Some people, when they start their journey, it's like they're all in. And it's like, that's the number one way to fail. Right. Yeah. Because we set ourselves up for these high expectations. And then when they're not met, it's like, oh shit, what did, God, this isn't going to work. It's not for me. And I like how you said, twice a week and 3 times a week. And now you're working on 4 times a week. So you did a challenge this past summer in August. Let's talk about that challenge, because I know a lot of that had to do with losing weight as well. What was the biggest things for you within that challenge that helped with that journey, that weight loss, and getting to where you're at today?
Well, I know that we hear this in the podcast all the time, and so I'm sorry to push it, ladies, but it is consistency.
Yeah.
It is consistency. Listen, I used to go to Weight Watchers. When I tell you I've done it all, I've done it. And I remember one time in Weight Watchers, our Weight Watchers coach, or whoever she is, like the queen of Weight Watchers, she said that people who went to the meetings lost the most weight. And so I kind of feel like that's what the gym is for me. Like, if I show up, I feel part of the community. I work out hard. And sometimes I go and I don't want to be there. And I have a great workout. And I'm like, oh, you still have that in you.
Yeah.
So I think that the consistency in the gym, and honestly, showing up a little earlier to the door. I know this sounds silly, but that's where you meet your girlfriends. You just door, chill, hang out, get there with time so you can kind of relax, take your time. Ready, going in, you kind of just appreciate your surroundings and the people who are around you. So that helped. And telling Brittany what I ate every day, I mean, it doesn't get any more vulnerable than that, because now,
100%. Yeah. So it sounds like, with fitness, with consistency, alongside your nutrition, have an accountability coach and the women inside the community, even though they're, you guys have different starting points and you guys are different points within your journey, getting to know them and having them support you. I mean, it's like you put all these things together underneath one umbrella and you just blossom and you grow. And I love it. And it's amazing. It's truly amazing. So with that, do you have any advice for any of our women that's listening today? And if so, what would that advice be?
Oh, where do I start, Marcia? I feel like there's women in different like phases. I think there's some women, I mean, from where I'm starting, just very overweight. And I do want to encourage, like, you don't even have to be very overweight. You could just struggle with your weight or struggle with your value and your worth, and you're having a hard time. I went to therapy. I sought counsel. I did a lot of the internal work. I had to get to a place where I wanted to know what was happening and why I couldn't keep the weight off. And I think that when I got rid of the internal weight, I now feel more free to release the physical weight. Like, I know it's time because I really deserve it. I'm doing it for me. This is what I want for me. Yeah. And I feel like, so women who are in that space, if you're still struggling, therapy is your friend. Yeah. Counseling is your friend. I would recommend doing it wholeheartedly. And then the women who are kind of on the fence or like just come because they need to come, like come a little earlier, or look for a gym friend, ask somebody their name, like get to know somebody that's around you, because you don't know what they're struggling with. And sometimes you just need to say hi and introduce yourself. And that opens the gate for them, because somebody may just be feeling as vulnerable as you are. And so meet a friend, right? And then join stuff at the gym. I know that, listen, I don't ever post on Facebook. And yesterday I was like checking in for charity. I haven't been on since May.
Oh, wow.
Yourself, like, to do things like that and let people know about your journey. Yeah. I think that's really important. And then the women who are like strong and killing it, like I remember having a pastor who once said everyone should always be reaching up to someone for help and reaching down to grab somebody else up. And so for the women at the gym who are stronger, who are feeling stronger that day, just look for someone who may not be feeling as strong or as great, and just lift her up, say something nice about her, encourage her, do something that.
I like that a lot. Yes. So on the opposite side of that, I don't know why, but it made me think of, have you ever heard the crabs in the bucket?
I've heard of it. I don't remember it, but okay.
So I'm going to share that with you. It's like the opposite of what your pastor said. And it's how people do like crabs. Let's reference it this way. The analogy is other people don't like to see other people get ahead of them. And the analogy of that is the crabs in the bucket. And this is real. Like when you put crabs in the bucket, when one crab tries to crawl at the top and out of the bucket, the other crabs pull the one at the top back down. And what I like about our community, it's like you said, it's the opposite. We lift each other up. We're not crabs at all by any means. And I just like that you said that about the pastor. I'm actually going to steal that. So I'm sorry if you hear me use that, but that's really cool. I really, really like that. There's something that you said I want to touch bases on, and I failed to mention earlier. You talked very highly of the Orenda Gala. It was in the bio. Yeah. And I want to talk about that a little bit, because for some of the women that either weren't there or they don't know what Orenda is, it was your first time coming. I want you to share your overall experience, because I think it's very impactful, especially if you've never been. We highly recommend for you to go to this event. So tell us about your experience being there this year.
Yeah. So first I went by myself, which extrovert of extroverts. So to not like have somebody walk in with me, I was just like, okay. So I went by myself, and I did meet a gym friend there who actually works with my husband. Hi, Valerie. She works with my husband. So small world.
Did you know that prior to coming?
No.
Oh, wow.
That's why we meet outside.
Yeah.
Outside one week, she's like, oh, work was just tough. And I kind of heard her out. Then the next week, hey, how's work been? And she's like, oh, it's been good. Where do you work? Yep, she works with my husband.
That's crazy. So cool.
So I did go to the gala, and I didn't know what to expect. I just kind of felt like, oh, this is going to be again, getting myself immersed right in the culture and within the community and seeing what it's all about. And so I got there and I was just so surprised with how beautiful it was. Also, it was really nice to go to something I didn't plan. And so I just soaked it all in. I took it all in. It was beautifully done. I felt like the food was great, of course. I mean, Cooper Talk, right? Yeah. And then when y'all, I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, what is happening here? You all had legit award ceremony, and the nominees are, I texted my husband, I am at the Grammys for a, what is happening right now? Oh my gosh. But I thought it was so great that it's just, LSF shows that you're paying attention. The coaches pay attention. We're not just numbers. We're real people. You see our strengths, you see our weaknesses, you see the growth. And so to be able to celebrate the women who were nominated and the women who did win and then give them their time to shine and hear from them, I thought that was such a personal touch. And it was so beautiful to see. And I didn't win nothing. Listen, in high school, I won all the popular awards. I was like, frankly, I never got the academic stuff, but to go there and not even understand what I was going to see, but to celebrate all the women, I was so encouraged. And I was like, man, I'm encouraged by these ladies. They're killing it. I want to get there. So I just thought it was done so well, and it was just such a beautiful night. And
That's awesome.
I couldn't speak any more higher of it, and when I highly of it. And when people asked, "Hey, you got plans for the 7th?" I was like, "Yeah, what are you doing?" "I'm going to a gala." "Oh, for what?" "My gym." And they just, "What do you mean your gym? Like, come on now." So I kind of had to explain where I go, what I do, and everyone's like, "That is so cool." So yeah,
I love that. So would you recommend the Orenda Gala? I would assume, yeah. I love that. Thanks for sharing that. And it's so different hearing it, from someone such as yourself, because me being on the other side, doing all the preparing and planning, you just want to create the best experience for the community. And to hear that you thought you were at the Grammys, it's like, yes, it made it all worth it at the end. It
was great.
Very cool. Thanks for sharing that. Honestly, Madeline, this was a fun episode for me. So I would love to invite you back, perhaps even sometime the beginning of next year. I'm sure people are going to want to know how you're doing in your journey. So yes, it would be an honor to have you back on here at some point in time in the later future. But again, thank you so much for tuning in today, ladies, on another episode of LadyStrong Fitness. Madeline, thank you for being on here today. With that being said, ladies, have a blessed day, and we'll catch you on another episode. Take care.
Thanks for joining us today. If you like this episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel or find our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, or whatever your favorite place is to listen to podcasts. And if you really liked this episode, please leave a review for us on iTunes. Thanks, and we'll see you next week.